Hello friends, Kip Teitsort here with an episode of Chronicles of a Culture Changer from DT4 EMS. If you saw the last one, I was just getting to Delaware to do the State Fire School and to teach an instructor program there. Well, I'm now home. The class went fantastic. Senior fire instructor Matt Gatos took several video interviews of the people when they were done with the class. We had, of course, firefighters in the room, EMTs, paramedics, educators, and even a fire chief. So he has a chance to talk to some of those folks and let them share what they thought about the program. And as soon as he gets it to me, I'll share those with you because, as usual, we meet some pretty amazing and fantastic individuals all across the country when we work out there. And now we've turned some new culture changers loose back to their agencies. But today I'd like to bring up a couple of things because, as usual, social media is a real storm for us. And people have this misconception about street survival and that's the only thing we have to survive. And I will share with you that there's actually 4 areas, and you've heard this a million times, hence the number 4 in our name. And these 4 areas that we must survive, where the street is one, and it's actually a very important one, it's only one piece. There are 3 more just as important areas we have to survive. The first one is mind. We have to survive the mental aspect of this, knowing, first of all, when can we defend ourselves? When can we not? What would be reasonable to use in that type of a situation? The mental processing of understanding that the only thing that we have to do that no one else has to do is recognize in a split second if we're dealing with a patient or an aggressor. A police officer doesn't have to do this. A woman walking in the park doesn't have to do it. A man standing in a bar doesn't have to do it. We are the only people on the planet, and that is us, those of us in emergency medicine, have to recognize the difference between a true medical patient and an aggressor. So teaching simply a technique doesn't give your folks the critical thinking skills, meaning that a 60-year-old confused person can reach out and grab you by the throat the same way as a 25-year-old person who's high or intoxicated. So, you have to give your people a moment in time using a skill that buys them a moment in time to recognize the difference between that patient or an aggressor. Otherwise, you're going to lose. The next piece is, so we've got the mind, then the street, which is skills that work more often than not for escaping an on-the-job violent encounter, because too many times our culture has now changed and we believe we're supposed to be taking custody. Guys, this is a whole different situation, and we address it in depth on our website. There's multiple culture changer blogs that are there that answer each of these little pieces that I'm talking to you about right now. So the street, skills that work more often than not to escape a violent encounter. The next part is the media. Guys, it's not just the mainstream media, but it's the social media that we have to win as well. I mean, we've got to survive these things. And if you just look at some of the stuff our peers are writing, it will just absolutely shock you when it comes to what they're saying in social media when it comes to the use of force. Because let me ask you a question. Let's say, for instance, and this kind of segues into the next area we have to survive, which is the courts. And that's the real court and the court of public opinion. So you've got mind, street, media, and courts. So let's back up for just a second. Let's say, for instance, with all the stuff that's going on around right now in the media, both real, which is the mainstream, and social, about law enforcement use of force. Now, who gets trained more and who gets judged more on their use of force than anybody else in the world? Or in our country, at least. Let's just put it that way. So the next question is, why did those 2 incidents happen where neither one of the officers that were in these recent incidents that I don't even need to bring up, why did neither one of them face a jury? The reason? Because what they did was okay legally. So see, the average public knows little about the use of force, much less lethal force, and then what our peers in medicine are saying proves that we are just like the rest of those in the regular social media or mainstream media area, and they're not in law enforcement. Because check this out. What would have happened had either one of those officers published things about the use of force the way we have been publishing things about the use of force? Let's say the officer says, well, we should just dump a mag in their face. Take an A, B, or C, pick one of them, and stop it. How about whack them in the head with an O2 bottle, smash their face, or a 45 to the face releases their grip a lot faster? Guys, these aren't things that a cop would say. These are things that our paramedics, EMTs, and nurses are saying about the use of force. And if you don't believe this stuff goes on and that we have this jaded perception of the use of force, have you ever heard someone say they'd start a 16 gauge in the back of an intoxicated drunk's hand? What about a doctor snowing and then intubating somebody in the ER just because he was being a drunk jerk? So now you're having a criminal use of medicine, using a medicine for what it was never designed to do, punitively. Guys, we have report after report of providers being arrested. Some have been convicted. Some are serving prison sentences right now for their use of force. We have got to change this culture. You know better about what we should or shouldn't be doing, those of you that have trained in our program, which brings me to another thing. Don't you think it's funny that the only people that ever talk trash about what we're sharing across the country have never attended our program? How is it that we have former special forces, a PJ, we've got black belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, we've got black belts in other multiple disciplines, we've got former police officers, some are still current police officers, teaching our material if what we're teaching is foolish or if we don't know what we're talking about? How do we have risk management companies? How do we have, was I the subject matter expert for the NAEMT and the National EMS Management Association? Why do we have so many of these people that take our program that go, oh my goodness, they're right? Because we've had their culture changed. All we're doing is educating them on fact, not opinion, and we're asking you to research the subject just as well. So the next time someone tells you about how they would use force in a hypothetical in medicine, I need you to qualify it, validate it, and verify it. You can find out what that means on the website as well. It's in another one of the Culture Changer blogs. Guys, there is so much more than just surviving the street. It isn't as easy as dumping a mag in someone's face. Because let me ask you, what will happen if you are a white paramedic or EMT or a nurse and you shoot a non-white in the face right now with the way things are going, or you whack them in the head with an O2 bottle? It shouldn't be an issue, but ladies and gentlemen, it is an issue. So it's the perception, it is the winning in the media, that's both mainstream and the social. We have got to win back our neutrality, and we do this by going back and doing why, or acting the way we did when we first jumped into this business, which was we thought we were coming in to help people, to care for people, and many of us still believe that. It's that some of us have become jaded, and unfortunately those people are very vocal. So guys, I'm Kip Teitsort. This has been an episode of Chronicles of a Culture Changer. All you got to do is talk to some people that have trained with us and let them tell you what it is. I mean, we are the real deal. We're showing real escape skills, but only because you messed up on a tactic. We don't believe that we will ever have to defend ourselves against a patient. And if you don't know what that means, you're missing the boat. I'm Kip Teitsort. We'll talk to you soon.